Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody, into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show, brought to you by the BFLO store, the official retail store of the Buffalo Bills on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my two co-hosts, former Buffalo Bills offensive lineman, 9 years, 10 years, both of you. John Fina, you can find him on Twitter at John Fina, and Jerry Ostrowski, you can find him on Twitter at Ostrowski_Big O. Please do us a favor. Please please subscribe, whatever platform you are tuning into this live broadcast on. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And if you are tuning in podcast form after this live broadcast, please like and please subscribe there. We appreciate every single one of you. If you want to find us on social media, go to any social media platform, search Overreaction Buff, and you will get all of our content. And then also we have a website, overreactionbuffalo.com, that has some unique features that you, Bills Mafia, will absolutely love. Happy early Victory Monday to you, Bills Mafia. It is Sunday at the time of this broadcast, but it's almost Monday, and it will be Victory Monday tomorrow. It was a perfect day in Orchard Park as the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills welcome in the 7th seed Denver Broncos. The Broncos went up 7-0 almost immediately on one of the most beautiful rainbows I've seen in Orchard Park, from Bo Nix to Troy Franklin. But after that, the Buffalo Bills scored 31 unanswered points in a game the Bills never really lost control of. We're going to talk all about that and a whole lot more. But before we do, let's hear from our show sponsor, the BFLO store.
Shopping for that special occasion? The BFLO store is the perfect place to begin for all things Buffalo. You'll discover the largest selection of Buffalo products and brand collabs not available anywhere else. From licensed team sportswear and gifts to Buffalo apparel and home decor. Visit any of our convenient locations or shop online. You'll find something for everyone. And you just never know who you may see shopping there. The BFLO store, Western New York's premier retail destination. Official retailer of the Buffalo Bills and Sabres.
Let's go BFLO. As the official retailer of the Buffalo Bills, the BFLO store has you covered with all things Buffalo sports, city-themed, and more, from cold weather gear to the best items in your fan cave, or I should say for your fan cave. Shop right now at bfloshop.com or visit any one of their 4 locations at Transitown Plaza Boulevard, Consumer Square, McKinley Mall, and the Walden Galleria Mall. And had they, gentlemen, or should I say, in that ad, they always say you'll never know who you'll see there. Had you gone Saturday, you would have seen, drumroll please, Kyle Williams. Gentlemen, this football game was something to behold. I've got a lot of takes on it. Where do you sit? How are you feeling post nerves? Now we've got the big dubs.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll start. A lot of people on social media, I'm not worried about Denver. And I don't know, Jerry, I'm asking you this question. I just get wound up regardless. It doesn't matter if we're playing a team that's freaking 2-15 or 17 or 16-0. I just can't help myself. It's not that I'm concerned about one thing or another, or one player or the other. I just get wound up, and throughout the entire game, it's almost as draining as being a player. So I feel great now, but all these people were like, "Oh, I'm not worried about the Broncos," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not worried, but why do I feel like I'm going to throw up all the time?
Why do I feel worried?"
No, I was, I have the benefit of actually digging into the statistics a little bit to get prepped for Thursday's show, and I was highly nervous today. This is the first game in a while that I kind of had that dry mouth feel and wanted to pace around the house before kickoff. And then, of course, the first drive happens, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But this was a very dangerous Denver team, and it was a Denver team that matched up well against our strengths. Their strengths matched up well against ours. And, obviously the game ended the way it did, 31-7. We scored, 31 unanswered. But no, this is a very capable team. It's a young football team. I expect the Broncos to be a regular contender here for the next so many years. People stay healthy, God willing, and all of that. But, well coached with Sean Payton. And I thought they had a good plan. But, the thing of our team, the side of the ball of our team that we seem to really dwell upon, that defense and the third down percentages and all of that, they rose to the occasion today. And when they play to that level, it's obvious it doesn't really matter who we're playing. The outcome is the way it was today.
Yeah, for sure. Want to real quick just say welcome to everybody in the comments section that's joining us over on the YouTubes. If you were watching us live on Facebook or X, the best place you can go is YouTube, because there's a community there of folks that comment during the show and talk about the stuff. They basically call us a bunch of geeks and nerds and weirdos, but other than that, they talk about Bill stuff. But no, I agree. It's funny to me the amount of times that the game will set up. So we come out of whatever, like we come out of this show, right? So it's Sunday night or Monday night or whatever. We come out of this show and we know who the next opponent is, and it's like I'm amped up for the week and all the content that we're going to do. And I'm excited, and like first blush, I'm like, oh yeah, we should be able to beat the Broncos. Like even the games that I've seen of the Broncos this year, while there have been flashes of Bo Nix looking really, really good, or pick a team as far as that goes, I'm usually pretty confident. And then by Thursday, it's like the national media and Twitter and everybody else has just whittled my confidence down to nothing. It's just, they just beat me down into the ground. And then Sunday comes around, I'm sitting in the stands and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here.
Yeah. Stand strong, Joe. The winds are fierce. Lean in, baby.
Right. So I get it. But yeah, the numbers definitely, watching your show on from Thursday, the numbers didn't necessarily, they told a story. And I don't want to say they told a story that would have potentially boded well for the Buffalo Bills, and the Denver Broncos are a 3-4 front. And the Bills traditionally have a little bit of trouble against the 3-4 front. Why do you think that is? Sidebar, not really about this game. Why does the Bills offense generally struggle against the 3-4?
Well, I think really good 3-4 defenses are tough to play against in general, whether it's Denver's or whoever else's. And a big part of it is people think, because it's an anomaly. Mm-hmm. People think because there's 3 down linemen that it's going to be easier to run the football against. It's actually a run-stopping defense. Mm-hmm. It is a true 5-man front. Even though 2 guys outside are stand-up linebackers, it is a true 5-down front. So it's hard to run the ball against it. And then in the 3-4, you have a lot of things you can do pass rush wise. And, you know, obviously this Denver team leading the NFL in sacks this season. Nick Bonito had 13.5 coming into the game. I think they had 5 guys over 6 sacks. I mean, this is a team that could get after it. Before today, I think they had 63 sacks, and they were 3rd in blitz rate as well. So a tremendously aggressive defense, maybe not overly big inside, a lot kind of like us, but as far as the 3-4 goes, it's definitely a tough defense to play against.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Jerry, I think a little bit has to do with when you have uncovered guards, you don't get the opportunities to have as many combination blocks at the line of scrimmage.
Great call.
So you have a lot of single blocks across the line, and then you've got guards trying to climb linebackers who are definitely better athletes. And if they scheme it well, then sometimes you're just out of position. You're getting picked here and there. And it feels like it should be an opening, right? It should be between the tackles. You should be able to go. But I think that especially our offensive line, we do really, really well in combination blocks at the line. And it also is accentuated by James Cook, who likes to patiently pick and choose and hit downhill. And when you have 2 guys on another guy, you get some nice rub blocks.
Right. I think also, too, John, that's why you saw the Bills come out and Joe Brady come out early with a lot of gap scheme stuff. That forced that double team inside on the nose. It gave the Bills some angles and allowed them to do some really good stuff in the running game. And then also, too, I think that we talk about, and you'll hear John talk about it sometimes on his show on Mondays, but the nouveau terms in run game stuff, you talk about vertical displacement and horizontal displacement. And the Bills are really, really good at horizontal displacement, meaning a lot of the stuff they do is cover down linemen up and you're moving down the line as opposed to physically trying to get them to go north-south. And, you know, with this 3-4 defense and a lot of that, you know, you've got guys that can really move well on this offensive line, especially at center. You can do a lot of really good things with that. And I think the Bills and Cromer schemed them up tremendously well. And hell, we weren't even done the first half yet, and we already had more yardage rushing than they gave up as an average for the year. We had over, you know, James Cook had over 100 yards in the first half. So obviously what they did scheme-wise was really, really good. And like John said, I think that the fact you tie a couple things in, and the fact that we're so athletic up front, it really benefited us.
Yeah, I wish I could separate the stat like stuff as far as there probably is a website out there that does it. The ones I use don't, but I know that they had less than 200 yards of total offense. Excuse me, in the first half, and the Bills I think were over 300 or 350. And we'll get to the stats in a minute. There's two things I'd like to talk about kind of off the top. The first one, I've gotten to the point through years of doing this, talking to you guys, and just being connected enough to people that know enough, and again, you two fit that category, to be able to flush the first drive. So as much as that first play happened from Bo Nix, and he took a shot right in the teeth when he let that ball go,
yes, he did.
Like to stand in there, it was impressive. I'll be honest with you, I didn't miss the catch. I missed a lot of the ball flight because I was staring at him as he was taking it right in the face. And I forget who had the rush. I don't know if it was Vaughn or who it was, but somebody had the rush on him. But I think with the Bills, I think that's just, we've talked about it on the show. That's just who they are. They're gonna feel you out a little bit on that first drive, almost, instead of being, is the word committed, like this is our game plan, we're committed to our game plan. I think, would you say that they like set stuff up and they're like, this is what 80%, this is where we're gonna be, and then we're gonna see what they're gonna do, and then we're gonna adjust, because once they adjust, they suffocate teams, right?
Yeah, Joe, and you hit the nail on the head. And as much as we want to see a different style in the first 2 quarters of the game from our defense, we're just not going to get it. This is who they are.
Right.
And it's like you said, our offense is clicking right now. We scored on 6 drives, 6 of 8 drives, 2 fourth down converted. They are putting themselves in a position with success on offense where we play this type of defense where we're just kind of waiting and seeing if they're going to make mistakes. And Denver dropped some passes that they shouldn't have dropped. Their run defense just wasn't there, right? So yeah, it's sometimes hard to watch. It's a little bit painful, but and the thing about it that concerns me is the next week, right? I mean, I don't see the Ravens make the types of mistakes that this nascent team in Denver made because they're so young.
No, I think that's very true. And I also, the one thing that concerns me a little bit is, while Bo Nix did get out and have some success running, we can get Bo Nix on the ground. The amount of room that he had, if that's Lamar Jackson, that's a whole nother can of worms trying to get him down on the ground. And I think that when I looked at that game today, that was probably the thing that concerned me a little bit more than anything. Obviously, the other thing that's concerning, we play a 4-2-5. You see what happens when our undersized DBs try to come downhill at the line of scrimmage and play run defense. We lost Taron Johnson for a while. Cam Lewis was out for a while. So now, is this a game where we go ahead and practice this week and make sure that we can employ a guy like Dorian Williams if we have to hop into the 4-3? But as we've seen in the past, it's going to take a lot for McDermott to be convinced that we need to get out of that 4-2-5. And it'll be a tall task. But, one thing is for certain, I do not believe we will play offensively the way we played against them the first game. I think we'll be much better. Second thing is, if you remember correctly, we had 3 starters out against the Ravens that first time we played them. Milano was one of them. I believe that Christian Benford was one of them.
Johnson as well, I think.
Johnson was the other one. Yep. All 3 of those guys now are back and will be playing this week. So you have that as well. So, somebody said earlier, I don't know who it was. It was Ralph Wilson Sr. or Ralph Wilson Jr. or whatever, said he doesn't know, has Josh Allen ever lost to the same team 2 times in one season? I don't know that stat. I wish I did. But I think this game will be incredibly different than it was the first time around.
Yeah, so they lost to the Chiefs during the regular season in 2020 in that rain game that nobody could go to because I live in New York State. And I don't think the Bills faced them in 2020. The 13-second game was in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure. If Chris Jenke was in the comment section, he could tell us for sure, because Chris is another one of those guys that seems to know everything when it comes to this type of stuff. But yeah, it's fun to watch that defense. To me, I'll be situationally in and out of 4-3 maybe, but Jerry, you've said it before, that this team is who they are. Like, they're going to be who they are.
Right.
I just can't see them. Although Dorian can run with some of the best ones, you probably can imagine he could run with Mark Andrews. That's obviously who he would probably have to cover in place of Taron Johnson. It seems like it's about run fits, even in the 4-2 and their standard defense. When they're committed to not allowing their eyes to leak to places they shouldn't leak to, and they stay in their run fits, they seem to be good against the run, no matter who the running back is.
Well, one thing I know that will be different than last night, and we want to try to we talk about the Ravens, obviously, and you have to. I mean, after the result of last night, we will play a much more spirited, play a lot harder game than the Pittsburgh Steelers did last night. They went through the motions, and honestly, I could not believe that was – it seems like over the last year specifically, and I don't know if it's because Russ is just an energy sucker, but it's the fact that everything that they did over these years of Mike Tomlin to be the Steelers, they've lost.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It
Jared.
almost looked like the Ravens were playing Steelers football as compared to the Steelers playing Steelers.
Interesting.
Football.
Well, and I also think there is a lot in the tank for both the defense and the offense. This was, Jerry, I think you'd agree, Joe, as well. This was a pretty vanilla offensive game plan. I didn't see anything that struck out to me as, wow, that's super creative. That's really, outside of what we typically do. And then defensively, you all saw the same stat that I did, that, we had a 51% pressure rate on Bo Nix. It certainly didn't feel that way. And I don't know what goes into making that stat, but we have played some 4-3 this year. We have 3 linebackers now that are healthy. And I think we'll probably see a little bit of that in rundowns, and then put Dorian Williams or Terrell Bernard in a situation where they have to cover the tight end. But I think it also brings, I think, a little bit more creativity to a pressure package when you are playing a 4-3 and you have guys who can competently cover a tight end.
Right. It's interesting. It was the last Bills drive of the first half. They get the ball they got it at the 1, I think. It ended up on the half-yard line. I think they got the ball back with 8 minutes left in the game, or in the half. Drove the ball for 6 minutes, only made it to the 45 or something like that, before they had to end up having to punt the ball. And I thought for sure, and I'm going somewhere with all this, to John's point, I thought for sure they were gonna eat up the whole eight and change that was left in the half, and then end up kicking a field goal or scoring a touchdown to close out the half. Going into the third quarter, and then it started to change a little bit towards the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. It was evident they were going to run the football. And that's all that they really had any intention of doing in this football game. And I don't know if it was because I can't imagine they were trying to limit possessions. I know that coach talked about it in the presser. I only caught a piece of it at the tail, so I don't know exactly what he said. And I didn't get a chance. I'll get to you, Jerry. So I didn't get a chance to hear what he said. But it was clear they were committed. We're running the football. I think I saw him pass on first down once, twice, maybe. Go ahead, Jerry.
And while it was, I don't want to say upsetting to me, but concerning to me, especially in the second half when you have a 3-play segment and your running back is touching the ball 2 out of 3 times, and Josh Allen, who obviously is, one of the best that's ever done it at quarterback, is controlling only one of those 3 plays in that segment. That was concerning to me. I believe fully the reason they ran the football today and really forced the run is because of the pass rush of the Broncos and the way they blitzed the quarterback. They neutralized the Denver pass rush by not passing the ball. They ran it. And I really, especially even in downs where you want to throw it, you've seen so much run that a defensive lineman's a little bit hesitant, right? You look at pressure rate, and John talked about it on our defense, but if you look at our offensive line, this was put out there on Twitter by the 33rd team, but Dion had 3 pressures today, which really even Dion with 3 pressures, that's maybe not, we're accustomed to less than that, but he also was facing Nick Benito that had 13.5 sacks this year. Spencer Brown gave up none. Edwards gave up the 1 pressure and did allow a sack. Connor McGovern gave up a pressure. Osiris Torrance gave up none. That's pretty damn good by that offensive line. And, I said it on Thursday, the first thing I'm looking at this week from play 1 is those 5 guys up front. Because that's where I thought was the key to our game. If those guys can control the game, we were going to win it. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and Jerry, I made this comment earlier in the week, just to dovetail on that, is the Bills would have to get Josh on the move a little bit with some half rolls. We ran a bootleg or two and a couple of designed runs. So, there's a number of ways where you can prevent a high sacking defense from getting to you, and that's to be elusive by design and attack by design, getting Josh's legs involved.
Right, because this wasn't a sack team. This wasn't a team that was going to come in and just, you had huge men that were going to overpower you and just get to the quarterback through sheer force. This Denver defense runs really, really well. So that speed that they had on defense could neutralize Josh. I talked about it a little bit earlier in the week. They were holding tailbacks to like 3-point-something yards per carry and holding quarterbacks to only like 4.4 yards. They were both leading the league in yards per carry for running backs and quarterbacks. So you had to think that maybe Josh was going to be limited a little bit. He still did pop off some good runs, but I think that running game of Brady and the fact that they were persistent with it just showed you the type of respect they had for that Denver defense. I really do.
Yeah, it felt like I liked what you said, Jerry, that you're Superman on your offense. The most talented player on your team is only controlling 1 out of 3 snaps when you're running the ball that much. And it even felt like even though they were having success with the passing game on the one time he was kind of controlling the ball, it wasn't easy. It didn't feel easy, whether it was guys couldn't get open or the rush was in his face, but it felt like the dam broke on the 24-yard scramble and then 24-yard touchdown to Ty Johnson. It was almost like Denver knew what they had and what they had working as much as they were getting beat. It's like, no, this is working. We're in the game. And then when Josh hit that one, it almost felt like they were like, and then the Bills started taking advantage.
And John will tell you, and John can talk on this point, but they rushed incredibly. They were in their lanes. They rushed their lanes. The outside guys didn't get caught inside. They did not allow Josh to escape. I mean, they were very, very disciplined in how they rushed him today. And, even the one sack they had was just basically a one-on-one, and Edwards got beat.
And then the other one was on Josh. But
right,
there were moments, Jerry and Joe, where Josh had the ability to scramble, run, create time, create space. I think we ended up with a field goal on one of those drives in particular where he just chose not to. And I was a little shocked. I recall about 3 of them where, hey, he had an opening and he didn't take it. And I was kind of a head scratcher. I was thinking, why didn't he take advantage of that opportunity?
It was that red zone. It was that red zone play.
One in the red zone for sure. And what I particularly loved about this game and the running attack, we used the good balance of Gilliam and Alec Anderson, but we saw Josh under center a lot. And that's for that short downhill toss game. Jerry, I'm going to break down that play probably a couple times tomorrow on my show because I really, really thought that was fantastic. We were able to get outside of that defensive front 5, but downhill with James Cook straight away. And we've had, and this is the other point that I wanted to say earlier when we talked about going against a 3-man front, that's the strength of their defense. And you can really only hit that C gap, D gap, if you've got strong blocking on the outside. And, the proverbial knock on wood, but our guys in the 80 jerseys and the teens jerseys are doing a hell of a job on the outside, engaging and maintaining blocks.
Oh, tremendously good job.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of run going on Twitter right now, just around and I forget the head referee's name. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It starts with a V. Vanovich, or I can't remember. Vinovich. Yeah, that he went over and talked to Josh Allen, and then they asked Josh Allen about it in the presser, and he's like, "Well, they were mad at me for yelling at them." And I don't. The amount of calls that they missed. At one point in time. Well, there was the bear hug on Coleman, right, on that fade pass to the sideline late in the game where the DB literally just wrapped his arm straight around him. And Coleman standing there, couldn't get his hands even off of his hips. No flag. And then there was another play right after that sequence where Greg Rousseau was being held to the point. It was by 2 guys. It was so bad. It was late in the game. Rousseau's in the offensive backfield with the head ref. complaining that they were holding him, and the ref literally looked at him and just pointed him like to get back to the line. And there was tons of them. The amount of calls that they were just like, yeah, we're done making penalties on the.
Well, the reason Josh gets calls is because of how he handled that post-game press conference with his conversation with the official. I'm sure the official probably told him they jacked it up. He probably went, hey, my bad, we screwed it up, but please don't MF me.
Please
anymore.
don't hurt my hurt my feelings in the middle of the game.
You had all reason to be upset, but don't use that term again.
Yeah.
And we did screw up, and I commend him for keeping his mouth shut and basically playing that off, because you saw he had a little bit of a coy look on his face when he was asked that question. But I'm sure there was yes, he probably did tell him not to yell at him, but he probably also did admit that it was a mistake on their part.
By the way, real quick, he has responded. So somebody someplace sent the encyclopedia like signal, the bat signal that's shaped like the encyclopedia, into the sky. And Chris Jenke, the encyclopedia, has found his way into the comment section, to which I have asked him if the Buffalo Bills have lost twice to the same team since 2020. I've narrowed it down since Josh took the Josh Allen leap. And he says in 2020, the Bills lost to the Chiefs in the regular season and also lost in the playoffs in the AFC Championship game. Oh, that's right. The championship game was the year before the 13-2 game. So that is the only year that that they have lost since 2020. They've lost twice to the same team. And we were talking about losing or having to play the Ravens, having lost earlier in the season, and then obviously playing the Ravens this week, which poses an incredible test for this football team. Talent up and down the roster. Two potential. One guy's going to be the MVP. The other guy's probably could be. I mean, Derrick Henry could potentially be the MVP. His numbers were there, and the effect that he's had on that offense. But as we kind of put this game to bed, what else stuck out to the two of you that we want to talk about before we jump over to the stats? Just as we're getting a little bit deep.
John.
I think I hit most of my points. Straightforward game plan, good mix of Gilliam and Anderson. I thought that Josh really was patient. He was smart with the ball. This seemed to me, and this was a little bit of a head scratcher to me, when you're running the ball really well. I was just screaming for some play action with some super deep routes. Like, let's go after it. And we really kind of held back on that, because when your running back is racking up yards and getting loose at the next level, the way James Cook was, that's just the perfect time. And I think, they might have, the strategy was, well, let's not show everything we got off our play action. Let's just continue to get James Cook into a groove, keep showing that as our threat. So the Ravens, focus on that, and then we'll strike down the field. But I was a little surprised that we had as few deep shots as we did.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably piggyback onto that. I mean, we threw one ball to Cooper in a screen type situation. And while I'm glad he's on the team, it'd be nice to try to figure out a way to get him more involved than we have. Although, honestly, that's not really what we do. So.
Welcome to the comment section, Bruno Fina. And he's right. I love the play action, man.
Josh
Allen. Why is play action a good play, John, other than the fact you can get big plays?
Well, it's easier to protect.
Thank you.
Yep. I mean, you come off the ball, that guy's got an anchor. He's got to be ready. He's looking over your shoulder for the run. His heels are in the ground. He's basically stopped. He's got to start again.
It makes your opportunity to get a plus on the grade sheet much easier than if it's straight drop back.
And the ball.
So you will learn to love play action too, Mr. Bruno.
Oh, Bruno does. Trust me. After this season, Bruno's looking forward to a lot of play action next year. But the ball tends to come out quicker too.
Yes.
Gotcha. Josh was not without his opportunities. I can remember two in particular where he was eyes focused downfield. I don't know whose intended target was on the second one, but on the first one, it was Matt Collins, and Matt Collins was running down the left sideline, and he had two guys on him, and he thought better of it and checked it down, took the easy throw, which is what we want, right, from Josh Allen. When the throw's not there, take the easy throw. From where I was sitting, I normally have a pretty good view, but the way the game was playing out, it was more challenging for me. And McKenna said to me a couple times that Cortland Sutton was wide open and Bo Nix missed him. From our receiver standpoint, were our guys having trouble in this game once again, getting open? Was it a situation where guys just weren't open for Josh?
I saw guys open and Josh overthrew him. I mean, the ball that he overthrew Keon Coleman on was
not the ones where he released the ball, the ones where he was having trouble finding somebody and then it ended up taking off or whatever. Sorry, I should have clarified.
I don't know how many times.
More time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. He seems to me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's hurting or something, but those balls he's missing. He seems to be dropping his, and I'm not trying to get all into technicalities and techniques and mechanics, but he's doing this dropping the elbow thing again, and that's how it was when he overthrew Keon. But then, I said it a million.
When he overthrew Keon, I think he just made a terrible read. The way Keon broke that. In fact, I looked at it. If Keon was even flatter, he would have had even greater separation. And Josh threw it to him like he was running a 9. And I was like, that's not the call.
But it was also like 10 yards over his head to boot.
Yeah.
And again, I will say this, and you've heard me say this, Joe, a million times. When he steps back and he gets that thing going to rip it, I just kind of lean back in my chair. I'm like, we're good. When he gets to where he's going to feather it, I get nervous as all hell. And again, it showed up again today when Ray Davis got absolutely filleted.
That was a poor throw. And then he had one over the middle too, where he created more time, and then it was behind either Knox or Kincaid that should have been.
He had a good feather in the last game, in the 2 games ago, and he had one in this game as well, but I don't remember where it was. But yes, to your point, and the ball that he threw to Kincaid, 35 yards down the field, he dropped it in a bucket. Like that was right on my sideline coming towards me. That was a beautiful pass. Had a nice high arc on it.
And here we are nitpicking a guy who was 20 of 26, 272, 2 touchdowns.
Right. Well,
quarterback rating of 135.4 and a QBR of 87.8.
But what I will say about Josh is this: if he was a pitcher in the major leagues, he would be a closer. He would not be a starter.
That's more than likely true. Yeah, he definitely feels so yes. Let's jump into the stats here real quick. And as always, if I can get my screen to increase, if you guys want to stop me at any point in time, you may. Player stats for the Buffalo Bills. John just said it. Josh Allen, 20 of 26 for 272. What is that? Anybody? I'll do the math real quick.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I would agree. So 20 divided by 26 it's 76%, which first round playoff Josh Allen is I think Dr. Brad Bowen called him a unit today. That's a pretty good description.
Dr. Brad Bowen was fired up now, boys.
Yeah.
Dr. Brad Bowen was fired up.
2026, 272 with 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, played pretty much a perfect football game. James Cook, 23 for 120 yards, had the bulk of the work today. What do we have? 23, 31, 44 rushing attempts to 26 passing attempts.
Beautiful.
Which speaks a lot to what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. Josh Allen, 8 of 46 for 5.8, and a lot of those were not. Some of those were designed runs. Some of those were him taking off when he needed to. Ty Johnson, 9 of 44. I love this kid. Ty Johnson is just it's always wild to me how guys like this get cut from 1 or 2 teams before. Jerry Ostrowski, another perfect example. Like what are they looking for that they miss that 2 teams later finds them?
I would have cut Jerry O too.
And I got cut by 3 teams, Joe. Don't cut me short.
Gotcha. Yeah, but then you went on to be in the top 100 of games played for all Buffalo Bills players. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Crazy things happen sometimes.
That's right. Ray Davis, 1 for 3 yards. My understanding is it was asked in the comments as well. I have not heard. I think an update went out on how he's doing in the comment section, but I know that he was tweeting after the game, so I would say that bodes well. Mitchell Trubisky, 3 carries for -3 yards. We left when Mitch came out. We left. Curtis Samuel, 3 for 68 yards. So I got asked in my Twitter mentions about Curtis Samuel. Did he earn his $8 million? I think was the question in this game, and I was like, you know what? I like Curtis Samuel, and I don't think Curtis Samuel is the problem. I also like the energy he brings. I think I texted the 2 of you. I went back and I watched.
Yep.
I forget which game it was where he was the focal point of the offense. Like the game plan was going to go
City, wasn't it?
It was KC. Yeah. It's like Curtis Samuel's good. He's going to be the game plan today. And even on the first couple catches and touchdown, he had energy that a lot of other guys didn't have. And then it turned out that he had a bunch of catches that game. He just brings something different, like from an energy standpoint. Go ahead, Jerry.
I think what we should do is we should all go get hammers. We should all go get claw hammers. And every time somebody complains about Curtis Samuel, make them take their shoe off and bash him in the big toe as hard as we can. And then say, okay, go about your day and tell me how that feels. And I think Curtis Samuel's, finally getting healthy. The turf toe thing is real, folks. I'm sorry.
It is real.
It's a real deal.
And I had it.
Debilitating.
I had
just a big toe. Okay.
Jerry, I had 2 steel plates in my shoe, and at the end of the game, they were like paper. You could just wobble them. And I just remember, in tears, aching. It just ached. It was the worst. I will say, worst injury I ever had, turf toe.
Turf toe. Wow, that's crazy. Khalil Shakir, who is as slippery as they come. It's unbelievable. There was
beef tallow, baby. Beef tallow Shakir.
Catches that one ball, ends up in the crowd, spins around, steps sideways, spins again, and then finally takes off. I thought the play was over, and I don't know how he's not waiting for some 340-pound defensive lineman to blindside him. And the guy never comes. It's just incredible. 6 for 61. Also, Curtis Samuel had the touchdown. He missed that. Dalton Kincaid, 3 for 47. Dawson Knox, 2 for 38. It felt like Dawson had a bigger game than 2 for 38. Did it not? Seems like he was more involved.
Well, any of the catches our tight ends made were awesome because, and this is, like I said, advanced analytics. We got analytics for everything nowadays. The Broncos led the league in limiting tight ends to receptions. They held opposing tight ends to 77% completion percentage or success rate or whatever you want to call it to sound cool.
Right.
But we found a way to get our tight ends involved. That was big time.
Important. Ty Johnson, 2 for 26 with a touchdown. Mac Hollins, 1 for 19. He got the ridiculous taunting penalty after that, which it was funny to see him, when he saw the ref throw the flag, he was like, shit. Just come on. Amari Cooper, 2 for 8, and then Keon Coleman. So Josh Allen completed passes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers. Not a bad day. Terrell Bernard, 5 tackles, 1 assist to Matt Milano, 3 and a sack. Who else? Greg Rousseau got the sack late in the game. Borderline garbage time. And then there was a pick in this football game.
It was overturned.
Was it?
Yep. Yeah. DeMar Hamlin did not get the pick.
All right. Yeah. So he got that interception, and we that's when we were like, oh, this game is officially.
You were already in the parking lot, Joe.
Officially over. Officially.
Yeah.
Well,
Joe always tells us, I really have a hard time getting home. How do you?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Halfway through the third quarter, how do you have a hard time getting home?
I never. That is the opposite of what I say.
How do you have a hard time getting home?
I have no trouble getting home, even if I leave at 0:00 when the whole stadium's full. I never have trouble getting home.
Let's go, McKenna. We can get home before the second half kickoff. Let's go.
The guys that sit next to my dad actually do that. They leave at halftime every game. Bo Nix, even in the summer. Bo Nix, 13 to 22, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. Riley Dixon went into this football game 1 of 1 for 15 yards. Bo Nix led the team in rushing, 4 for 43. Javonte Williams, 7 of 29. I remember when the Bills Mafia wanted Javonte Williams. So it was interesting to see him play football live. Tyler Batty, 2 of 8. Marvin Mims Jr., 2 of 1, or 2 carries for 1 yard. Jaleel McLaughlin, 2 yards for -2. Receiving, and I'll just hit this real quick. Cortland Sutton, 5 for 75. I love Cortland Sutton. Might be one of my favorite wide receivers in the league. Troy Franklin, 2 for 54 with that one beautiful one with the touchdown. Javonte Williams, 2 for 14. Marvin Mims, they held him in check. Marvin Mims was the guy I think I was most worried about in this football game, gentlemen.
Yeah, you didn't hear. 2 for 12.
Yeah, 2 for 12. Adam Troutman, 1 for 2. Lucas Krull, 1 for 2. Jaleel McLaughlin, 1 for 0. And then Devon Vele got a a target but no reception. Target but no reception. Team stats real quick. So this is amazing. So I hadn't seen these yet. The Denver Broncos, I just said it a second ago, had less than 200 yards going into the third quarter. So at the end of halftime, and then they gained 50 yards or 40 something yards on the first possession of the third quarter. And it looks like that was it.
Yeah.
224 total yards in this game.
They didn't get their second first down until the fourth quarter, I think.
It's amazing to me how people don't like Sean McDermott. Whatever. The Buffalo Bills 471 yards,
or Matt Collins for that matter,
or Matt Collins. That's right. Passing yards 145 to 261. Yeah, because I tweet about Matt Collins and talk about negatively about him all the time.
Here we go. Aftermath.
Here we go.
The topic of aftermath tomorrow will be my history with Matt Collins.
You brought it up.
I know I did. And
did I say anything? Did I say anything?
Flathead catfish.
Did I say anything to you about
down there just mashing on some dough bait? Just
Did I say anything about you bashing Josh Allen after having a perfect game today? No, I did not.
Can you just read my favorite stat of the game?
John's waiting, bated breath, waiting for it. Passing yards 145 to 261, rushing yards 79 to 210 for the Bills. Yards per play 5.1 for the Broncos, 6.5 for the Bills. First downs 13 to 26, and that's a testament to running the ball as much as they did and as well as they did. Third down efficiency 2 of 9 for the Broncos, not great. 8 of 15 for the Bills, which
that's
is
the line.
Super good, better than 50%.
And if you look at 2 for 2 on fourth down, right? So 2 of those drives they missed on the third down, but they pick it up on fourth down.
Yeah, one was a tush push, and the other one was the 24-yard pass to Ty Johnson, right?
Yep.
Which when it was about 1.5 yards, that one, and I was like, they can't tush push this. And McKenna was like, oh, sure they can. And then and then they didn't line up in tush push formation. I was like, what's going to happen? And it was like, yeah, that play started as a no, oh yes. So it was one of those plays. Total plays 42 to the Bills, 72. 42 for the Broncos, 72 for the Bills. Crazy. Sacks allowed. Both teams allowed 2 punts, 4 for the Broncos, 1, and then that ridiculous fake punt. It's gonna be another one of those lights click on moment in the film room, right? And it's gonna be one of those what were you looking at type things for Jamarcus Ingram, because he was not paying attention to the guy that he was gunning. You know what I'm talking about, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, I need to go back and look at it. Frankly.
I can tell you what happened. So like he released off the line, he turned around to run with his guy, and he just ran, and then the dude like turn left. Jamarcus Ingram was like, oh, he's over there. And the punter threw a perfect pass. It's got to be something they saw on film, right? That this guy has a tendency to cheat, just tuck his chin and go, versus paying attention to what his guy's doing.
Yeah, usually it's good. It's just good scouting. I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? We won the game. It didn't feel good, didn't look good, but it's one of those details that, hey, it's a coaching point that we didn't even see. Right? Nobody's looking at every single aspect of every single thing. I mean, there aren't enough hours in the day. There aren't enough, days in the week to drill down that deep. But, and it's good because it sharpens everybody's next game, next performance, next rep.
We always hear about quality control guys. Is what a quality control guy does? Like he's the one that's digging into film that nobody else is watching?
No.
No,
those are analysts. Quality control guy is the dude that prints off the game plans, handles travel, handles Gatorade coolers outside the hotel rooms at night before the game. That's what I think McDermott started as a quality control coach. Anyway, penalties and yards 3 for 27 for the Broncos, which I didn't think it was 3. I thought it was less than that. 7 for 45 for the Bills. Fumbles lost 0-0. Interceptions thrown 0-0. Time of possession, the Bills crushed them pretty much 41-18.
And that is the stat for next week.
Oh yeah,
we make it look like that again. You disagree, Jerry?
There's only one stat that matters next week.
Oh, the W.
The W.
That our score has one more point than their score.
That's right. We could win 2-0 as long as we win.
Next week for me is you got to score 35 and make them not score 35, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to score 30 points.
Don't say that, Jerry.
You don't know that.
I don't know that, but
that's okay. We want to score 31.
Or we want to score 41 and they can score 40, right? So boat race. The boat race is on as far as that goes. Who's going to get there fast or first? Not fast. Who's going to get there first? We'll see. So now is the time. The awesome. Well, any final comments on the stats, gentlemen, as we talk through them?
No. Nope. You hit my 2 favorite: time of possession and third down efficiency.
Awesome. Well, then let's do the Dude Awards. For those of you that are not familiar, some people do arrow up, arrow down. Some people do thumbs up, thumbs down. Here we do the Dude Awards. If a guy plays good, it's dude, great job. If he does bad, it's like, dude, we got to talk, bro. This was a lot of good in this football game. Jerry Ostrowski, you get to give out the first Dude Award.
Okay, man. So it's real easy this week. It's the group that I was talking about on Thursday that I put an emphasis on, and they showed up. They performed well, and that would be Brown, Torrance, McGovern, Edwards, and Dawkins. That's the offensive line. The offensive line is my Dude Award. They absolutely dominated today. To run the ball the way we did today against a team that plays the run as well as the Broncos do, to protect Josh the way they did, absolute dominant performance. And the simple fact that any of those linemen are not all pros is straight ass ignorant, to be flat out honest with you. It is absolutely ignorant. So kudos to them. Kudos for putting that on behind them and concentrating on what's important, which is the next W. And so my Dude Award goes to the O-line up front. And I'll throw in a sixth guy, Aaron Cromer.
And Jerry, you missed Alec Anderson and Reggie Gilliam. We'll take him.
Yes. And I like Anderson because he's got a little proverbial shit in his neck.
He's nasty. He's nasty.
He's half bent is what he is. I mean, he's got a little twitch.
That's hilarious. John?
Well, I mean,
wait. Sorry. I think I saw something today that I've never seen before, and I could be wrong. It could happen every single game. I just don't know that I've ever seen it happen. Osiris Torrance is blocking, and he's blocking to his left. James Cook is coming behind him, and I saw him peek. And I don't think I've ever seen an offensive lineman peek to where the running back was while he was engaged in a block before. Is that something that happens a lot, and I've just always missed it?
No, I'm sure I've done it, but I don't know. I don't remember the play, but hey, man, you just want to look out for your guys and literally look out for your guy.
I've just never seen an offensive lineman peek while engaged in a block. Like, oh, yep, there he is. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. My dude of the game is Beef Tallow Shakir. He's been quiet a little bit recently, and my expectation is, I want him to have success and keep, that trend going in the upwardly direction. And he had a fantastic game, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but he had a huge return, and he just looks great. And the more touches we can get that guy out in space, good things tend to happen.
And the obvious choice for me is Josh Allen. However, on this program, we don't generally elect Josh Allen because Josh Allen is that dude. The statue that we give away, the trophy we give away, has a picture of Josh Allen leaping 17 people on top of it. So I'm going to go with the next obvious person, which to me would be James Cook. There's a lot that I like just about the way that he runs, and he shows up every single week after week. And even when it feels like he has a hard time getting started, they spell him with somebody else, and then he finds his traction later. And this game, he just from jump just had a really, really good football game. It's something to, I don't know what else to say without just being ridiculous as far as that goes. So James Cook gets my Dude Award for this football game. Gentlemen, before I get us out of here, any final comments?
It's nice to win it. Nice to be relaxed. I enjoyed it for 30 minutes. Now I'm wound up for the Ravens.
My advice is do not be like Joe Miller when it comes to Matt Collins. Don't take the Ravens bait this week. Stay off social media. Spend time with your family and friends. Read a book like A.J. Brown. Better yourselves. Get in the Word. Learn about Jesus. Whatever you need to do,
Amen.
Don't take the Ravens bait. Leave that for the amateurs, folks.
John's doing the sign of the cross.
Are we playing Saturday or Sunday, by the way?
I don't know that we know yet.
Well, as soon as we figure out when we're playing, all eyes to that day. Have a great week at work. Be productive. Be good citizens.
All that
love your family and your friends. Say hi to people. Be compassionate.
Smile.
And smile. And just know that we get another opportunity this next weekend.
And lastly, prayers for our friends in Los Angeles.
Yes, no doubt.
So Jerry and I are going to be on Robbie's show here in about 10 minutes. Tomorrow we've got the Aftermath sometime in the morning before noon with myself, and then the Off Tackle with John Fina show tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. Tuesday on the beat, Elena Getzenberg, Buffalo Bills beat reporter from ESPN, is going to be joining us for that episode. Return of me to the Hump Day Hotline. What I missed? Oh,
tell your mom you love her, Joe.
I love you, Mom. Wednesday, return of the Hump Day Hotline with myself and Jay Spence the King. And then Thursday, as always, Overreaction's first look at the game this week, the Buffalo Bills versus the Ravens. Is there anything we should send you to kind of prep for that game, to kind of keep your nerves down and kind of keep you from like biting all your fingernails off? Or are you going to be good?
Talking about me?
Yes, you.
I'm going to be fine, man.
We've devolved.
I'm going to be fine,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Overreaction Postgame Show, brought to you by the BFLO store on the Overreaction Postgame, or the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by Believe. Thank you to everybody that's in the comments section. Thank you for everybody that has joined us. Catch up with us all this week. We love you guys. We appreciate you. For me, for John, for Jerry, go Bills.
Go Bills.
As the great Don Cornelius used to always say, peace, love, and soul. Go Bills.
Go Bills.